Alright, without further ado, let's look at what we can do. So to start, first we recap that in our previous tutorial we fixed the camera, so it is much more player aware. So if players or the friend size increases or squad size increases, it will move back a bit. So what now we will do is so let's check this one and remove tag here, and let's look at how we can change the text of a text mesh component at a runtime. And why where we need it is pretty much this questionnaire. So let's go to prefab here and double click it, and here you can see this is the questionnaire data. So and this is inside it is this text mesh component. This is mesh renderer, and this is the TextMeshPro text that we need to change. So to do this, simply what we will need is go on edit. Here in edit we need to make a text mesh component, text mesh pro tmp, and tmp is equal to, let's make it a serialized way like this. Oops. Make a serialized way, and inside tmp, now the tmp should show here, which is a text mesh component. And now we will simply drag and drop its child component here, and similarly for this we will give this one value. Again for this again you can change this to right, as this is the wrong, it's not left, it's right. But again this is pretty much dependent, and it's so here what we will do is get this value, text is equal to so what will now happen is if this value is 10, the text value would automatically be taken as 10. So now when we press this, so as you can see our new value -100 and 100 showed up here. And if we head back to level, so if we go to questionnaire 2 here, and if we change values here, it would automatically be reciprocated in these in that value as well. So this is done as well. So now let's look at how we can multiply the prefab. Also another thing we can do it after looking at prefab multiplier is what we can do is pretty much that if on walls, check for bullet collision, and if collision happens, increase the plus value and decrease the negative value. Why I'm saying this, I will show you in video. I will show you in video of last war game how this effect is made, how this thing is going on, and we will try to copy it. We will try to implement this logic in our game. So this is for further. So now our next thing will be, our next thing is to do prefab multiplying. And again, prefab multiplying is simply dependent upon this instantiate thing right here. And before you look at a instantiate thingy, simply what you will do is go on to docs here, and if you instantiate here, all right, I have missed the spelling, that is I haven't wrote correctly, so I will copy it again, and this time if I wrote well. So this is how instantiate works. This is instantiate, this is the prefab, and simply the prefab will go here in the first parameter of this function, which is by default given by Unity, and then the second is a vector position, I suppose this is the position. So right now what we will do is spawn it at the player. So if I copy it and show you here, what I mean is, what are we going to do is pretty simple. So this is the player, we will spawn inside it, but since our nav mesh agents, so if we go on, since our system is detecting as intelligent because of nav mesh agents, so what this means is, if we go on to runner copy, and here you go on to stickman, here we have nav mesh agent components that are by default doing obstacle avoidance, so they will by default use 1.4 radius to avoid each other overlapping. So what this means is, if I play right now by default, and if I copy this runner components like this, which is by pressing duplicate, and if I put it if I place it inside the player like this, what do you think is going to happen? It will automatically, so right now this is our 5 to 6 prefabs, and when I press tab to run, it will automatically start following. So this is how it will start following our player like this. Right now +10 and -10 are not working either, and once we figure out that if this is fine or not, it will be taken into further that how it should be. So as you can see, these are our agents. They are pretty smart, and they are currently not overlapping. So without further ado, let's get started. And first thing we will need to do is to make a prefab. So if we go into, okay, let's save this here, and we will do this in the next tutorial, that is prefab multiply.